Imagine your life as a bank account. Every morning you are credited with 400 seconds. Every night, any remaining seconds are lost forever. You cannot save them. You cannot borrow. What would you do if you knew this was your only chance to spend these seconds wisely? Today, let's talk about managing the most valuable currency you have: time. Time is a curious thing. We all feel it slipping through our fingers, yet we rarely pause to understand its value. Every morning, we wake up with 24 hours ahead of us, as if the world has granted us a fresh canvas. And yet, so often, we fill it with tasks that do not matter, with worries that do not serve, with distractions that vanish as quickly as they appear. Time does not wait. It moves forward relentlessly, silently, without announcing its passage. And the truth is, the moments we lose are gone forever. You cannot earn them back. You cannot borrow them. You cannot negotiate with them. Many of us treat time as if it were infinite. We postpone things, telling ourselves there's always tomorrow, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But tomorrow is not promised. The seconds you waste today are seconds that can never be returned, and the life you dream of living does not wait for your hesitation. Time, unlike money or possessions, does not accumulate. You cannot save it in a bank to spend later. Every moment that passes is gone forever. The question then becomes, how will you spend it? Time also has a strange way of showing us what is truly important. When we reflect on the past, the regrets we feel are rarely about work left undone or emails unanswered. They are about moments not shared, words not spoken, risks not taken, and connections not nurtured. Time reveals the truth of our priorities, often too late, when the opportunity has already passed. It is both our most generous gift and our most demanding teacher. It gives equally to everyone, yet the way we choose to spend it creates the difference between a life of purpose and a life of routine. Learning to honor time is learning to honor life itself. It starts with awareness, with the realization that every minute matters. It is in the simple choices, the decision to listen fully, to act deliberately, to invest in what matters, that time transforms from a fleeting shadow into a tangible, living force. When we treat each moment as sacred, we discover that life is not about the hours we count, but about the presence we bring to each one. And in that presence, even the smallest action can become profound. Time is not something we manage like a spreadsheet. It is not a resource to be hoarded or calculated endlessly. Time is life itself, and how we treat it, how we honor it, is how we honor ourselves. Each morning is a gift, each second a chance. To waste it is to lose ourselves, to cherish it is to live fully. Procrastination is one of the most subtle thieves of life. It does not announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly, convincing us that there is always more time, that the important things can wait, that tomorrow will be easier. We often tell ourselves, "I'll do it later," as if time were an endless river flowing at our command. But time has its own rhythm, indifferent to our plans, indifferent to our excuses. Every moment spent delaying is a moment that could have been used to create, to grow, to connect, or to change. The problem with postponing is that life does not pause while we hesitate. Opportunities slip past silently, unnoticed, until we find ourselves staring at the empty space where they once were. Sometimes it is a word of appreciation left unsaid, a dream left unexplored, a gesture of kindness left undone. Other times it is a decision delayed until circumstances close the door that was once open. We tell ourselves that the world will wait, that people will understand, that deadlines can be pushed. But the reality is harsher. The world moves on, people change, and deadlines pass. In that movement, the precious gift of now is lost. We often underestimate the power of small, timely actions. A single choice made today can alter the course of a week, a month, or even a lifetime. And yet the habit of postponement lulls us into thinking that our actions are insignificant, that what we do today is not urgent, that our contribution is replaceable. In truth, each delay compounds, and the accumulation of deferred actions becomes a heavy weight on the soul. Procrastination thrives on comfort and distraction. It convinces us that the present moment is not suitable, that preparation is more important than action, that waiting will make things better. But waiting rarely improves the moment. Clarity emerges through action, momentum is built through effort, and confidence grows through the courage to begin. By putting off what matters, we risk losing not only time, but also the opportunity to live intentionally, to shape our own journey, and to leave a mark that is uniquely ours. The lesson is simple yet profound. Every moment carries a choice. Will you allow it to slip away in the illusion of later, or will you embrace it with presence and purpose? The world will not pause for hesitation, and life rewards those who act, even imperfectly, rather than those who wait for perfection. In the rhythm of now lies the power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, and the habit of doing today rather than postponing for tomorrow is the bridge between dreams and reality. Life constantly tests our understanding of what truly matters. It is easy to get lost in what we want in the moment, in fleeting desires, in the endless list of distractions that scream for attention. Yet, not everything that demands our time deserves it. The difference between a life well lived and a life that simply passes by lies in our ability to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what feels good and what truly nourishes the soul. Too often we chase after what is easy, what is immediate, what gives temporary satisfaction, mistaking it for progress. Meanwhile, the things that shape our character, that build our future, that create lasting joy, quietly wait for our attention. Priorities are the compass that guides our actions. Without them, we drift through life, reacting to every interruption, every notification, every demand, until the end of the day comes and we realize we have spent our most precious hours on things that, in the larger picture, do not matter. Understanding priorities is not just about making lists or managing schedules. It is about knowing what aligns with our purpose, what feeds our relationships, what grows our potential. It is about choosing the right battles, focusing on the tasks that bring meaningful results, and letting go of the rest. The challenge is that prioritizing requires courage. It often demands that we say no to what is urgent but not important, to what is popular but not meaningful, to what everyone expects but our heart resists. It means resisting the temptation to be busy for the sake of busyness, to fill every second with activity that produces little lasting value. In choosing wisely, we embrace the reality that time is limited and that every action carries weight. There is a profound freedom in focusing on priorities. When we commit to what matters most, life becomes less chaotic and more intentional. We feel lighter, more present, more aligned with our inner calling. The work that once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable, and the distractions that once seemed enticing lose their power. Our decisions become deliberate, our steps purposeful, and our days richer with meaning. Life rewards clarity. Those who understand their priorities are not necessarily the busiest or the most talented. They are those who act with discernment, who invest their time where it counts, who nurture the things that cannot be replaced. In the end, it is not the quantity of actions, but the quality of choices that defines the impact we leave behind. When we learn to put priorities above preferences, we learn to live fully, to move with intention, and to turn each moment into a building block for a life of substance, depth, and fulfillment. Life often gives us more tasks than we feel capable of handling, more responsibilities than we think we can manage, and more opportunities than we know how to seize. In the midst of this abundance, it becomes easy to get lost in the noise, to pour energy into everything, and yet accomplish very little of lasting significance. The secret to effectiveness lies not in doing everything, but in recognizing that a small portion of our efforts often creates the largest results. Not all work is equal, and not all action produces the same impact. Learning to focus on the few things that truly matter allows us to achieve far more than spreading ourselves thin across everything that comes our way. Understanding this principle requires careful observation and honesty with oneself. It is tempting to believe that being busy equals being productive, that filling hours with activity demonstrates value. But true productivity is measured not by the number of hours spent, but by the results those hours generate. Many people work tirelessly, yet see little progress, simply because their efforts are scattered. The art lies in identifying the activities that yield the highest returns and committing to them with clarity and consistency. This approach requires discernment, the courage to say no to what is less important, and the discipline to invest time where it matters most. It is about focusing energy on tasks that create meaningful outcomes, rather than merely filling time with motion. Small, deliberate actions, chosen wisely, compound over time, producing results that far exceed the effort they required. When we understand that a minority of actions lead to the majority of results, we start to act intentionally, prioritizing what drives growth, happiness, and purpose. There is also a liberating simplicity in this understanding. By focusing on the vital few rather than the trivial many, we reduce stress, improve our decision making, and reclaim the energy wasted on unnecessary effort. We begin to see progress not as a result of constant busyness, but as the outcome of thoughtful, purposeful action. Life stops feeling overwhelming and starts feeling manageable, purposeful, and aligned. The key lies in the awareness that our attention is finite, our energy is limited, and our choices matter more than sheer activity. Ultimately, those who learn to focus on the few tasks that bring the greatest impact experience a profound sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. They are not scattered by every distraction, nor weighed down by endless responsibilities. Instead, they move with intention, creating results that resonate far beyond the hours they spend, building a life that is productive, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. Transformation does not usually happen in grand, sweeping gestures. It often begins in the quiet moments, in the small, consistent actions that may seem insignificant at first. The power of these small steps is underestimated because we expect change to arrive suddenly, as if life has a switch we can flip. But lasting growth is rarely instantaneous. It is the accumulation of tiny, deliberate choices, repeated day after day, that slowly shapes our character, our habits, and ultimately our destiny. Every effort, no matter how small, carries the potential to compound into something far greater than we can imagine. The beauty of small actions is that they are achievable. When the tasks before us feel overwhelming, when the vision of the life we want seems distant, focusing on just one step makes the journey manageable. These steps are the building blocks of progress. A single act of discipline, a single moment of focus, a single choice to do what matters creates momentum, and momentum, once it begins, carries us forward in ways that energy alone cannot achieve. Over time, these small steps accumulate, like drops of water filling a reservoir, until the change becomes undeniable. Consistency is the hidden force behind every success story. Rarely does someone achieve greatness in a single leap. Instead, ordinary people who commit to daily improvement quietly transform their lives. 1% better each day may seem trivial, but over months and years, it becomes exponential. Skills sharpen, relationships strengthen, understanding deepens, and life unfolds in a way that sudden effort could never accomplish. This is the miracle of compounding, not just in finance, but in every aspect of life: habit, knowledge, character, and influence. The challenge is to maintain patience and persistence. Small actions rarely bring instant recognition or reward. They demand faith in the process, a trust that each deliberate choice matters even when the outcome is unseen. Many give up too soon because they cannot see immediate results, forgetting that rivers carve valleys not by force, but by the slow persistence of countless drops. When we embrace this truth, we begin to value progress over perfection, process over impatience, and consistency over fleeting bursts of effort. In recognizing the power of small steps, we reclaim control over our lives. We no longer wait for a perfect moment, a grand opportunity, or an ideal circumstance. We start where we are, with what we have, and trust that the small, intentional actions of today will create the life we desire tomorrow. And in the quiet, patient unfolding of these steps, we discover that greatness is rarely a matter of luck or sudden inspiration. It is the inevitable result of persistent, focused effort applied over time. Learning to manage time is as much about what we choose to refuse as what we choose to embrace. Life constantly presents us with demands, distractions, and invitations, many of which seem urgent or appealing in the moment, but do not align with what truly matters. The ability to say no is not a rejection of the world, it is an affirmation of our priorities. Every time we say yes to something that drains our energy or diverts our focus, we are, in essence, saying no to the things that build our purpose, our relationships, and our growth. Understanding this is a vital step in taking control of our own lives. Saying no is often uncomfortable because it challenges our desire to please others, to fit in, or to avoid conflict. Yet, every person who has achieved balance and fulfillment knows that their power lies in their choices. Saying no is not about being unkind or dismissive. It is about protecting the space and time that allow us to contribute meaningfully to the things that deserve our energy. Each refusal creates clarity, focus, and the freedom to invest deeply where it truly counts. It transforms time from a passive resource into an intentional tool for living. The truth is, our yes is only as valuable as our no. If we say yes to everything, our attention becomes fragmented, our energy dissipates, and nothing receives the care it deserves. But when we carefully guard our yes, reserving it for the work, the people, and the moments that matter, we create the conditions for impact, satisfaction, and growth. Life becomes less chaotic, less reactive, and more intentional. Every choice becomes a declaration of what we value, and every refusal becomes an act of self-respect. Learning to say no requires courage, clarity, and self-awareness. It demands that we pause, reflect, and ask ourselves whether each request, each opportunity, each distraction aligns with our purpose or simply satisfies a fleeting impulse. It requires us to resist the pressure of immediate gratification or the fear of disappointing others. In doing so, we reclaim the most precious resource we have, our time. By protecting it, we protect the life we want to live, the goals we want to achieve, and the relationships we want to nurture. Ultimately, the art of saying no is the art of saying yes to life itself. It allows us to focus on what matters, to act with presence, and to live with intention. Every no is not a denial, but a redirection toward what truly deserves our energy. It is through these choices, made consistently and consciously, that we begin to shape a life that is not dictated by circumstance or expectation, but by purpose, meaning, and the deliberate use of our time. Time is easily stolen when we are not vigilant, and the thieves of our hours are often disguised as harmless habits, routines, or conveniences. They do not knock at the door or announce themselves. They slip in quietly and quietly consume the most precious currency we have. Social media, endless scrolling, gossip, overthinking, perfectionism. Each of these can appear small, even trivial, but together they erode our focus, fragment our attention, and steal opportunities we might never get back. Most of us underestimate the cumulative effect of these tiny distractions, believing that a few minutes here and there are harmless, unaware that those minutes multiply into hours and days that disappear without notice. The first step in reclaiming our time is awareness. When we track how we spend our hours, the picture is often startling. We see that hours meant for creation, learning, or connection are instead absorbed by activities that provide little lasting value. We fill our days with motion, but motion is not the same as progress. The mind, like a compass, requires focus to point in the right direction. Every interruption, every diversion, every unnecessary activity shifts that compass and takes us further from where we want to go. Once we recognize these time leaks, the challenge becomes choice. It is tempting to give in to distraction, to justify indulgence, to tell ourselves that a few more minutes will not matter. But life is not forgiving of delay, and small losses compound. Protecting time requires deliberate action, setting boundaries, limiting distractions, and intentionally choosing where our attention goes. It is not about eliminating joy or leisure. It is about distinguishing between activities that nurture us and those that merely consume us. There is also a profound lesson in this struggle. Clarity emerges through discipline. By identifying and eliminating the activities that steal time, we create space for focus, creativity, and meaningful engagement. Work that once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable, relationships that were neglected find attention, and goals that seemed distant come closer with each deliberate effort. In reclaiming time, we reclaim ourselves. Every moment saved from distraction is a moment returned to life. It allows us to pursue growth, invest in what matters, and experience presence rather than fragmentation. Time thieves may be clever, but awareness, choice, and consistent action are stronger. When we act with intention and protect our attention, we transform hours into experiences, minutes into achievements, and moments into memories that endure. In this careful stewardship, we discover the true power and freedom that comes from living deliberately rather than being lived by circumstance. Time without purpose is like a river without a direction. It moves, it flows, it carries energy, but it does not create meaning. Many of us rush through life, filling our days with activity, tasks, and responsibilities, yet often fail to pause and ask why. We forget to align our actions with the deeper intentions that give life richness and direction. Time management is not merely about schedules or efficiency. It is about ensuring that the hours we invest reflect what truly matters to us, what resonates with our values, and what leaves a lasting impact. Without this alignment, we risk spending our lives on things that, in the larger scheme, are inconsequential, leaving us exhausted, unfulfilled, and adrift. Purpose acts as a guiding star. When we understand what we are working toward, decisions about how to spend our time become clearer, and distractions lose their power. Each moment becomes a choice, each action a contribution to the larger tapestry of our lives. Purpose turns routine into ritual, tasks into meaningful work, and minutes into milestones. It transforms busyness into progress and urgency into intentionality. The days that once felt chaotic begin to carry coherence, direction, and significance. Living with purpose also requires reflection. It is easy to move from task to task without noticing whether they serve our deeper goals. Regularly stepping back, assessing our priorities, and asking whether our time investments align with our values ensures that we do not drift unconsciously through life. This reflection allows us to course correct before we reach the end of a season or even a lifetime, preventing regret and creating the opportunity to live with intention at every step. Aligning time with purpose is not only about work or achievement. It extends to relationships, personal growth, and the cultivation of experiences that nourish the soul. Time spent with loved ones, learning, creating, or serving others gains extraordinary value when it is guided by a sense of meaning. Even mundane activities take on significance when they contribute to the life we wish to lead. This perspective changes how we approach each day, turning the ordinary into something profound and the fleeting into something enduring. Ultimately, time managed without purpose is like energy wasted. Time invested with purpose becomes a powerful force for transformation. It shapes character, builds legacy, and fills life with depth and fulfillment. Every choice we make about how to spend our hours becomes a declaration of what we value, a reflection of who we are, and a step toward the life we aspire to live. When time aligns with purpose, every moment carries weight, every action carries meaning, and every day becomes a canvas on which we paint a life of significance. Time management is not about filling every moment with activity or pushing ourselves endlessly toward goals. There is a common misconception that productivity is measured by constant motion, by the ability to tick off task after task without pause. But true mastery over time comes from understanding that rest is not the enemy of progress. It is an essential part of it. The mind, body, and spirit require periods of restoration in order to function at their best. Without rest, focus blurs, creativity diminishes, decisions become clouded, and energy dissipates. Pushing relentlessly without pause may produce short-term output, but it sacrifices clarity, health, and the ability to engage deeply with life. Rest is not merely about sleep, though sleep is vital. It is about creating moments of stillness, allowing the mind to reflect, the heart to recharge, and the spirit to reconnect with purpose. It is the pause between breaths that allows us to move forward with precision rather than chaos. In rest, ideas consolidate, problems resolve, and perspective emerges. The person who honors rest can act with intention, respond with calm, and sustain effort over the long term. Those who ignore it often find themselves trapped in a cycle of exhaustion, reacting to the demands of life rather than shaping them. Reflection is another crucial element of rest. Quiet time allows us to assess whether our actions align with our priorities, whether our energy is invested wisely, and whether the pace we maintain serves the life we want to lead. Without reflection, even productive activity can be misdirected, leaving us busy but unfulfilled. Restful reflection ensures that our effort is purposeful, that our choices are deliberate, and that our time moves us closer to meaningful outcomes rather than simply filling the hours. There is also a subtle but profound truth. Rest replenishes not only energy but creativity, clarity, and joy. The human mind thrives on cycles of action and stillness. Moments of pause give space for insights to arise, for inspiration to strike, and for connections to deepen. In this rhythm, life flows naturally, energy regenerates, and work becomes not a burden, but an extension of a balanced, intentional existence. By embracing rest as part of time management, we reclaim control over our days. We learn that doing less at the right moment often achieves more than doing everything without pause. We discover that stillness is not wasted time, but invested time, that a mind and body nurtured by rest are far more powerful than one driven by relentless motion. In valuing rest, we honor the natural rhythms of life and allow ourselves the capacity to live, act, and create with depth, focus, and enduring energy. How we spend our time is ultimately the story of our life. Every moment carries the potential to shape who we are, the relationships we nurture, and the impact we leave behind. Time, unlike any other resource, is finite, and its passage is relentless. We cannot pause it, save it, or reclaim it once it is gone. The way we choose to use each day defines the quality of our life and the legacy we will leave. Those who live without awareness of this truth often find themselves looking back with regret, realizing too late that they spent their hours on things that offered no lasting value, while the moments that mattered slipped quietly away. Living intentionally means treating time as the sacred gift it is. It requires conscious choice, self-discipline, and clarity about what is truly important. Every task, every interaction, every decision becomes an opportunity to align our actions with our values and purpose. When we invest time in growth, in relationships, in service, and in meaningful work, we create a life that resonates far beyond the fleeting hours of a single day. The impact of such choices multiplies, touching others, shaping experiences, and leaving traces of significance that endure. There is a profound freedom in this understanding. Knowing that every moment counts allows us to release trivial distractions, to let go of what does not serve, and to focus fully on what does. Time becomes not a burden to be managed, but a canvas to be painted with intention, creativity, and love. The discipline to use it wisely becomes a source of joy rather than pressure, a pathway to accomplishment rather than a chain of obligation. Each second spent consciously contributes to a life lived fully and deliberately. Legacy is not measured by wealth, fame, or possessions, but by the moments we invest with care, the lives we touch, and the influence we leave behind. Every act, no matter how small, carries the potential to create ripples that extend far beyond our own experience. By honoring time, we honor life itself. In doing so, we shape a journey that is rich, meaningful, and enduring, where the measure of a life is not how long it lasted, but how deeply it was lived, how intentionally it was shaped, and how profoundly it affected the world around us. Time is the most honest companion we have. It gives equally to everyone, yet it waits for no one. How we choose to spend it, how we protect it, and how we align it with our purpose determines the life we create and the legacy we leave. Every moment is a choice, every second an opportunity. Let us not allow life to slip through our fingers in distraction or delay. Instead, let us live with intention, act with clarity, and invest our time in what truly matters. When we do this, we do more than manage time. We honor it, and in honoring it, we honor ourselves. Life, after all, is not measured by the hours we live, but by the moments we make meaningful.